late night BVarsity game night recap for the Central Section quarterfinals. I'm Trevor Horn, along with the tweeting one known as Zach Ewing. It's late. It'll be midnight by the time you see this, but we've got a lot of action, a lot of quarterfinals, some upsets, some blowouts, different things of that nature. Let's get right into it. Division One, right there. There's Liberty. That was the game that I was at tonight. Liberty scores 37 points in the second half to beat Fresno Central 40-28 after a very kind of boring first half. Really, it was 7-3 Central at the half. Liberty comes right out. Chris Barnes gets a fumble recovery on Central's first play from scrimmage in the third quarter. On the very next play, we actually have the highlights of that. Jordan Love goes 29 yards on the very next play on the quarterback keeper. He actually leaped, jumped over two different Central. Here's the second leap right there, about the 4-yard line, as they take a 10-7 lead there. But quickly, they came back. Look at this. There it is again. It's an incredible run, really. But Central came right back. There's a first leap there. And then there's the second leap. So Jordan Love, just 3 of 14 for 25 yards in this one, but he had 103 rushing yards. Quincy Jounty had 217, a career high, 3 touchdowns, including one that put him up 40-21 with just over 3 minutes left in this game. The defense kind of stepped it up. You know, Brian Nixon told the team, hey, we need to play 24 more minutes. That's exactly what they did. I mean, they scored 21 points in the third quarter after only scoring 3 in the first 24 minutes. There's a lot of fireworks there to start off the third quarter. Liberty kind of settled in. Central was 5 of 8 on third down conversions in the first half. Started out the third quarter 0 of 5. So I think that was the biggest thing that kind of allowed Liberty to kind of take that next step. So they'll play Bullard. Bullard beat Clovis West 35-28. And then on the top side of the bracket, number 1 Clovis beat Edison 28-8. So the Cougars move on, and they'll play track opponent Clovis North, who beat Buchanan. Zach, what was the score of that Clovis North Buchanan game? Do you know? Off the top of your head?
I know it was 38-21 late. I'm not sure what it ended up, but it was fairly convincing for Clovis North. It's kind of problematic for Buchanan. Those two teams played in Week 10, and Buchanan wins a close game, which you think, oh, hooray, we won a close game against a good team. You got to play them again 2 weeks later. That's really difficult to do against a good team. And Clovis North got them. So you have Clovis against Clovis North and Bullard against Liberty, two pretty darn good semifinals.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. Liberty, you could kind of tell that they wanted to play Clovis West in the semifinals. And when Bullard was able to hold it out, I know Clovis West was driving. They had the ball at the 12 with just over 2 minutes left. Bullard intercepts the ball inside the 10-yard line, kind of runs the clock down and wins that one 35-28. D2, that's a game that Steve Lynch was at, was Ridgeview against West. 2 local teams going at it, 2 SYL teams actually going at it in this one. 54-35, the win for Ridgeview. They're now 11-0. They will play Sunnyside in the semifinals next week at home. Sunnyside beat Tulare Union.
Are you okay?
46-14. Yeah, I'm fine. So Ridgeview went up early. What is that? Like 19-0.
No, it was 12-0. I want to say that was a game for a while.
Yeah, Chris Coleman got a 5-yard touchdown run, and then Darius Smith came back with a 90-yard run. 90-yard run. I mean, that kid.
Well, that's what he does when he's in the open. Forget it.
Once he gets past the secondary, nobody's going to catch up.
Then I believe West scored again on a long touchdown pass.
Coleman to Haywood for 66 yards.
So it's 20-14 midway through the second quarter. And then Ridgeview took off. They scored the next 27 points of the game and took control. And really, the final score is misleading because I believe it was 54-14 before West scored the last 21 points of the game. Am I right? It was at least 47-14.
Yeah.
3 of the last 4.
21-17 in favor of West there in the
21-7.
It is 21-7. 21-14. Oh, yeah, 21-7 there. So they scored Salcedo quarterback there at the end of the game for West. Wonder what happened to Christopher Coleman. Josh Boyd, tough to see a career like him, and he had such a great season, almost 1,000 yards receiving. He's got some offers. I don't know if he's going to Wyoming, if he's actually...
Yeah, and he's an incredible athlete. Let's face it, the season was always going to end tonight for West.
Yeah, exactly.
Ridgeview's too powerful, too strong. They didn't play any stretch of the imagination close to their best game tonight. The same could be said for Liberty, and those are the 2 teams we're all focused on. These are the best 2 teams in
here's
Kern
some
County.
highlights that our director Chris McCall has shot for us. So Chris, we appreciate that. So here's the I believe that's Lawrence White with the first touchdown of the game, a 4-yard touchdown run for the Ridgeview Wolfpack to make it 6-0 after the PAT kick failed. So there's 6:19 left in the first. And then on the kickoff, West gets the ball, picks it up, fumbles it, and you can see there is fumble recovery for Ridgeview there. So they regain the ball. Looks like it's about the 26-yard line. Here's a replay of it. Look at that. Pops right up, right into his hands. So, and then we come right back. Here's Darius Smith with his first touchdown, a 2-yard run. Again, the 2-point conversion, a pass fail for Ridgeview. So they're up 12-0 at the end of the first quarter. In the second, there's a punt for Ridgeview. West picks it up there at about the 35. That is Josh Boyd. That boy can run. You know who he reminds me of, and I've been saying this all season long? He reminds me, he's like this year's Braylon Scott. How they're both kind of long and lanky, really good receivers. Both play DB very well, obviously. Braylon Scott's there. And there, look at that. There's I believe that's the 66-yard touchdown pass from Christopher Coleman to, I believe it's Robert Haywood. Is that correct? And then there is a touchdown there for West. So it's 12-7. So that was actually Coleman. So that was a long pass, and then Coleman running in for the 5-yard touchdown. Here's West with the ball one more time around the right side, up the middle. Nice tackle there to kind of maybe stop it from being a touchdown. West drops back. Coleman drops back over the middle. Intercepted. And there's the man, Lawrence White. Nope,
no, that's
that's
Amir Knox.
Amir Knox. Yeah, sorry, I thought I saw a 7 there. So nice pick there for Amir Knox off the tip.
Although Lawrence White did have a pick
here's Darius
tonight.
Smith. Watch how he just burst through the middle. And like I said,
Well,
once he gets to that second level, he has gone. I mean, there's a reason why he's a Central Section 100-meter champion.
At that point, West didn't have any linebackers home. Once he hit the hole, it was over. Forget an angle on that guy. He's too fast. So, it's just too easy for Darius Smith at that point. And
2-point conversion, good here.
With Lawrence White making the catch.
Yeah, White making the catch from Jamar Moya, so they're switching roles there. Moya likely the quarterback next season for Ridgeview. So 20-17 with 5 minutes left here in the second quarter. Here's a long pass. Haywood on this, looked like a screen, and he's gone.
66 yards. And so this is the point where it's 20-14 Ridgeview, and it looks like West is going to give them a game. But guess what? Same thing happened the first time these teams met. I want to say it was.
Yeah, we're talking about 3:13 left.
14-10 at the half the first time they played, or 13-6 or something like that.
Right.
And then Ridgeview just ran it up on him after that.
Wow, nice cutback by Jamar Moya there.
And some shoddy tackling by the Vikings.
Yeah, completely shoddy tackling, but you definitely can't do that against a guy like Jamar Moya. So he gets it up to midfield. That sets up the 6-yard run up the middle for Lawrence White, who cuts it off. Nice dive there. Love the slow motion, Chris. That's nice work there.
Might have gotten a little bit of a benefit of the doubt there from the referee.
26-14 lead. They would score another one, White to Brown, to Christian Brown for 38-yard touchdown pass. And that would be the score at the half. And like I said, they would go on to win 54-35. So they'll move on the opposite side of the bracket.
They face Sunnyside next.
Right.
I screwed up your brackets, but I just looked at them all so I can tell you. Sunnyside really took Tulare Union, which was 9-0, remember, a few weeks ago, out to the woodshed tonight. Sunnyside winning that game 46-14.
And then on the opposite side.
And now the thing about Tulare Union, real quick, they didn't have Romello Harris, their Division I running back. He was injured both against Tulare Western in a loss there and tonight against Sunnyside. So Sunnyside, a good team. We know they beat Stockdale earlier in the year. And you got to look out if you're Ridgeview for Sunnyside. But the Wolfpack will be big favorites there.
Okay. Opposite side of the bracket, Sanger beat Garces 13-10, and the Lemoore beat El Diamante. Garces, you had a couple updates out of that Garces game.
Yeah, really for me, Trevor, tonight, the story of the night wasn't – there were a lot of upsets, and we can talk about that as we go on, but the near upsets, especially for Kern County, was the story. Liberty was down at the half. Garces was up 10-0 at half in this game. South High had a lead on Memorial, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Garces up 10-0 in this game, playing in the third quarter. About midway through the third quarter, they had the ball in field goal range. chance to go up 13-0, and they faked the field goal and threw an interception on the fake. Sanger takes over, gets a short field, ends up driving about 60 yards for a touchdown that got him back in the game, made it 10-7, and then I believe Garces turned the ball over again to set up Sanger late, or it was a block punt, turnover or a block punt, I can't remember which, and Sanger ends up going ahead 13-10 and hanging on for the win. You really got to hand it to Garces and A.J. Gass. Maybe the fake field goal call he'd like back, but the fact of the matter is, big picture, the Rams got a lot better this season. This was a team that wasn't competitive early in the year. Obviously very competitive with a very good Sanger team in a tough place to play, Tom Flores Stadium in Sanger, and Garces comes up just short. So we get the semifinal we expected there, Sanger and Lemoore. Winner there we think will face Ridgeview in the D2 final if Ridgeview can take care of Sunnyside. D3, this is the game I was at, Golden Valley beating Highland 28-9. Much closer game than that score would indicate. Golden Valley had a pick six from Luis Vasquez for 65 yards with less than a minute to go, with 33 seconds to play in that one to make it 28-9. Highland actually had the advantage in total yardage in this game for most of the way. Let's go to the highlights. This is your first touchdown of the game. It was 3-0 Highland at this point, and Tyler Thompson bounces off a tackle in the backfield and gets into the end zone for a 7-3 lead. That was the first of 3 touchdowns for Tyler Thompson. Also had 138 yards rushing. This was a 16-yard touchdown run for Tyler Thompson to make it 14-3 in the third quarter. This came just after Highland went for it, 4th and 2 from their own 18-yard line in the third quarter of a 7-3 game. So a questionable call there backfires in Highland's face. It's 14-3 at that point. Highland actually answered and made it 14-9. But then they went for an onside kick, another risk taken by Highland that backfired. Golden Valley getting the onside kick, and then it was all Tyler Thompson. You saw the long run that sets up his third TD run. That made it 21-9. And that was really all she wrote. Highland did get the ball back inside the 10, but they lost a fumble. They lost 4 turnovers on the night, 3 very costly fumbles, and then this interception you're about to see that was really at this point with less than a minute left, just icing on the cake. But Luis Vasquez jumps the route and goes 65 yards the other direction for the 28-9 final. First victory, playoff victory on home soil for Golden Valley in school history. They actually had a home, quote-unquote, home playoff victory back in 2006, but they didn't have lights on their field, so they weren't playing home games at that point in 2006. Didn't get lights on the field 2008. So let's listen to Eric Smith, the Golden Valley coach.
You might not even go to the playoffs. Now you're in the semifinals.
Correct.
What happened to this team?
Well, we got better. And we actually got better against West High. We lost West High by a late touchdown. The kid made just a phenomenal play. And, it's kind of ironic. Our kid made a phenomenal play tonight. Luis Vasquez comes up with the score. And at the end, to kind of seal the deal. And these kids just never gave up. We play in a tough league. I honestly, our league will beat you up. And it's just kind of, you got to battle. And you got to battle week in and week out. And I think that, in the end, that prepared us for playoffs. And these kids got a little life after West, and then we did good against East. We kind of gave them an ultimatum: you win, you're in, and we've been rolling ever since.
Tonight, early on, really down to down, they probably got the better of you, but every time there's a big play, a fourth down or on either side, it seemed like you guys made the play.
Well, I got to give my hats off to our defense. Our defense stepped up big tonight. Our offense kind of sputtered. Golden Valley's known for its offense, but tonight it was known for its defense.
He told that team in Week 10 they had to beat East High just to make the playoffs. They were losing to East High, which is 1-8 at the time in the second half. Came back, beat East by a touchdown. Really an afterthought in the D3 playoffs, but they shock Fresno High, a 9-1 team last week, 35-33. And then they get, frankly, a little bit lucky. Highland beat Bakersfield Christian for them, so Golden Valley gets the home game against the 13 seed. Highland actually outgained them in this game, Trevor, but the Scots just shot themselves in the foot time after time. They lost 3 fumbles, had the interception, a couple turnovers on downs in the red zone. Just couldn't finish off drives. And Golden Valley very good at finishing off drives and capitalizing on those turnovers. So really, the Bulldogs, the Cinderella of the entire Central Section, the lowest remaining seed. They face number 1 Hanford next, and they're enormous underdogs in that game. But at this point, it's they got nothing to lose now in the semifinals.
At what point in that game does one team take over the other when both are kind of riding high off of upsets in the first round as a 12 and 13 seed, and then it's just that one team that kind of gets over that honeymoon?
Well, I'll tell you what. Highland fumbled the opening kickoff of the game, but then they force a turnover on downs. Golden Valley gets nothing off of it. Highland goes right down the field. Nick Saban would say, like, you know what, through a tin can.
Right.
And then, but they fumble the ball. Chance Cooper fumbles the ball inside the 20. Boom, going the other way, and it's a nothing
Is that a boom
game.
goes a dynamite?
It's a nothing game after a quarter. Highland settles for a field goal on its next good drive. To this point, we're talking about halfway through the second quarter. Highland is dominating the game. Really should be up 14-0, and they're only up 3-0.
Right.
And at that point, Golden Valley gets a big kickoff return, scores a touchdown. They're ahead, and you start to feel like Highland missed its chance. Highland should have been up big in the first half. They weren't, and Golden Valley takes over at that point.
Congratulations, Golden Valley. They get a home win when they never thought they were going to get a home game in the playoffs. They'll play at Hanford, who beat Kingsburg 42-7 on the opposite side of the bracket. An upset, Tulare Western, the 6th seed, beating Tehachapi up the hill 15-8.
Kieran Scott did not play for Tehachapi.
Right.
That game a big loss for the Warriors. Got to think that game
so obviously that
maybe
injury
ends up
against-
differently with Kieran
Their
Scott.
injury against Ridgeview was obviously a lot bigger than we thought it would be. And then in that other game in D3, South, who actually led 21-14 at
21-13, yeah.
21-13 at one point, ends up losing to Fresno San Joaquin Memorial 27-21. So in a game that we figured at least one of those two teams, South or Tehachapi, would move on to the semifinals. Both are home, so it'll be Tulare Western against San Joaquin Memorial. And then in Division 4...
And Golden Valley Hanford on the other side.
Yeah, like I said earlier. So that'll be a game up at Hanford. So a D3 team from Kern County will play at Hanford in the semifinals, much like Bakersfield Christian did last year against the Bull Pups. Upset in Division 4 on the top half of the bracket. It was Kerman beating Central Valley Christian 21-14. So that's a 9-1 upset. So big one there. That means Chowchilla will actually get a home game in the semifinals after beating Madera South 27-20. Chowchilla, the 4 seed. And then
it also means Cesar Chavez is going to be at home as long as they keep winning. They're the number 2 seed.
Yep.
They beat Exeter, as you see behind you, 28-17. Tough game for the Titans. I believe they were 14-0 in this game and kind of had to hang on against the Monarchs. We talked about how deep Division 6 is. Now Chavez gets Washington Union.
D4.
D4, yeah. Well, now they get Washington Union, the number 3 seed, and Washington Union and Chavez both riding real long, like 6-7 game winning streaks. So that should be a very good semifinal. And then the other side, as you said, Kerman at Chowchilla.
So that actually sets it up because if you look at it, we didn't have any teams in D5. It'll be Emmanuel against Woodlake on one side of the bracket.
Woodlake beating Kern Valley, yep.
Yep. And then Dos Palace and Mendota on the opposite side of the bracket. So we actually have still 4 teams. We've only got, 6 teams left in the Central Section playoffs. But we've got 4 teams that still, if they win in the semifinals,
they will host.
3. Liberty could still host if Clovis North beats Clovis. So there's still a possibility of 3 or 4 different games. We have nobody in that seat. That's sad. Move on to D6. Kennedy withstands a push by Strathmore in this one.
Kennedy was down in this game.
They were down 14-0 early. So 40-20 win for the Thunderbirds. They'll host Cal City in the only all Kern County semifinals game in all 6 brackets. Cal City beat Tranquility 26-8 on the opposite side of the bracket. Sierra Pacific down Orange Cove 49-13, and then McFarland a 72-6 loss to Avenel to end the season after a good fight.
Had a 5-game winning streak, and then and frankly, folks, we don't follow McFarland as closely as we do the city schools. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Right.
We don't know, was there an injury? Was there an academic situation? McFarland obviously lost whatever mojo it had in the middle of the season, lost the last 2 games of the regular season, and then just gets smoked like a chimney tonight, 72-6.
So let's run through it one more time. Liberty still in the D1 playoffs. They will host Bullard. That's a 2-3 matchup in D1 and D2.
Unbelievable matchup there.
Ridgeview will host Sunnyside in the 1-5 matchup.
Do we want to go through Southern Section?
Oh, yeah.
We
Let's
do
go
have
through the
Southern Section schools.
Yeah, I apologize about it. So Burroughs' season ends with a 55-26 loss to La Quinta in the D6 bracket.
Did you really just say Quinta?
What?
Come on, white bread.
Quinta?
Come on, white bread.
La Quinta? Are you talking, Lewis?
Yes.
Stop talking and just go through
La
the slide.
Quinta. We talked about yesterday. Spanish for next to Denny's, okay? La Quinta.
Let's double check on that for a second.
Mojave beats Faith Baptist. It was a 50-34 final, I want to say. We don't have it up there.
I think I called that score.
Did you really?
I think
We'll
I
have to
actually
look.
called that
Yeah,
score.
you were probably pretty close. And Desert Grace Brethren now 12-0 with 8 shutouts on the year. If you can shut out Desert, you got a pretty good defensive football
That's got to be
team.
one of the best small school teams in the state right there.
And Grace Brethren moving on to the East Valley semifinals. So Desert season ends at 9-3.
Yep. I think that's it. Yep. So, like I said,
again, next week, Bullard at Liberty in D1, Sunnyside at Ridgeview in Division 2, Golden Valley, the Cinderella, facing number 1 Hanford in D3, Cesar Chavez hosts Washington Union in D4.
Right.
The all-Kern County game, Cal City at Kennedy in D6.
D6,
That's all Kern County. That's still a pretty long road trip, Cal City to Delano.
Yeah.
And then in the southern section, we talked about Mojave. They will play for the 8-man CIF championship back-to-back next week.
Right.
So that's Kern County football. That was the quarterfinals.
Yep.
He's Trevor. I'm Zach.
Reminder, tomorrow we're going to have all volleyball for you starting 10 a.m. Fraser Mountain. We'll have the highlights from that one, and then we're going to start off everything. We're going to have video highlights, photos, recap. We'll have an in-game blog.
Hey, Lewis, what are the chances of a little BVarsity nightly from Lemoore tomorrow night?
Okay, so Lewis says, yes, a very good
Let's do
chance
it.
that we will do a BVarsity Live segment tomorrow night from Lemoore. D3 finals, 3 p.m. It is Mission Oak against Bakersfield Christian. In the D2 finals, Independence and Central Valley Christian. And then the big one, D1, Liberty and Clovis East at 8 o'clock. We got all for you. It's at West Hills College in Lemoore. Show up if you can. Root on your Bakersfield teams. But if you can't, know that BVarsity Live has you covered tomorrow night. And also at noon tomorrow, the Garces boys water polo team is in the D3 finals against Edison. First time since 2011 that the Rams are going for a title against a team that's never been in a section final in water polo. So that should be a lot of fun. We got Steve Lynch on that one.
We're all over it, baby.
Yep, we're done here. See you guys tomorrow night. And if we don't, you guys have a good Thanksgiving. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll see you next Friday.